Morning everybody, Ron here, and I'm back to the horror business, and thought I would do another video on least known slashers and slasher films, and this time I've got 9 picks here to mention to you, and like I said in my last video, if anybody wants to come up with a video response, they're more than welcome to. First up is the Tony Todd the Candyman character from the movie Candyman, played by Tony Todd. I thought he was a very enjoyable character, and sadly I've not seen the other 2 movies from the Candyman series, and basically the character is very cool on how he uses a hook on his hand and how he has bees coming out of his mouth. And the first one is definitely pretty good. It's a pretty good one from the 90s, and like I had mentioned, I've not bothered with the other 2 sequels, but if anybody has seen them, let me know if they're any good. Next up is a trio of killers, and this is the trio of Krug, Weasel, and Sadie from the original Last House on the Left. I thought they were really mean-spirited, forcing them girls to make out with themselves and forcing one of them to urinate. And definitely the most mind-blowing scene is when Sadie disembowels Phyllis out in the woods and pulls out her intestine, and how Krug carves his name into Mary's chest. And the characters of Krug, Sadie, and Francis from the remake were pretty good, but they weren't really that mean enough. So in my opinion, the original characters from the original Last House are much better. Next up is the Angela character from Sleepaway Camp, and I always thought the killings in this movie were very creative, and the sequels were pretty good also, and I liked the ending of it, which was really mind-blowing, how it turned out that she was a boy at the end, or transsexual. Next up is Matt Cordell from Maniac Cop, and of course in this one he was human, and then he gets killed off in the end. You think he gets killed off, but he comes back. And in 2 and 3 he's more like this zombie type character. Next up is Horace Pinker from Shocker, and I always thought this was very entertaining from Wes Craven, how the killer always jumped into TVs. And ironically, a few months later there would be another movie which would be kind of in the same vein but a little different, called The First Power with Lou Diamond Phillips, which was pretty good, but Shocker is much better. Next up is the duck-voiced killer from Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper, and the killings in this are really mean-spirited, and the killer in this movie is really crazy, and especially the one scene where the bicycle lady gets killed off, and I think it's either in the tunnels or in the ferry, and it's definitely a pretty good one from Lucio Fulci. Next up is the Marty character from Slaughter High, and I think this is a very good movie from the 80s, and very underrated, and it's been part of some packs from Lionsgate, and Arrow Video has this as an import DVD, which I will get one of these days, and if anybody has it, let me know what you think. Let me know if it's worth getting. Next up is the Vincent Price character of Anton Phibes in the Dr. Phibes movies, Abominable Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes Rises Again. I liked how he kills people in creative ways. In the first one, he uses bats, rats, and in this one scene, while this nurse is sleeping, he drills a hole in the floor and then pours some kind of stuff on it, and then these bugs, he brings down this tube with these bugs down, and then they eat her. Anyway, the Dr. Phibes character is very creative, and the movies are classics. And last but not least is the Harry Warden character from the original My Bloody Valentine, and the killings in this are really mean-spirited, especially the unrated version of the movie, which came out in 2009 through Lionsgate. I mean, it came out in both versions on one disc, and I always watch the unrated director's cut because it's definitely much better, and the remake wasn't bad either. Well, that's been it for this video, and I hope you all have enjoyed it. Until then, you all have a good week, and I'll probably have an update sometime next week, so look out for that. Until then, have a good weekend.